Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'd now like to declare the Scenic Regional Council Ordinary Meeting for Wednesday the 29th of January 2025 open. And even though the year is now well underway, wish everyone throughout the region a happy new year and a successful one for 2025. I'd just like to also begin the meeting by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet and pay my respects to elders past, present and future. I believe we have a full attendance of council today and there are no apologies, and we'll now turn over to Reverend Cook for prayers.
Yes, good morning, Reverend Mayor Tom Sharp, and good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. Let us pray together. The book of Philippians chapter 4, verse 6 and 7 says, "Do not be anxious about everything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your request to God. And the peace of God will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." Almighty God, thank you for having us here in this place. Help us continue to live and walk to the glory of God. Be with us, guide us, care for us, and bless us. Mighty God, I pray for our community, the Scenic region. Help our neighbors know you and share your grace and love through our Lord Jesus Christ. May be good servants of your love for our neighbors. Help us learn from our community and make it a place where all are blessed and welcomed. Lord, I lift our community of Bow Desert and the Scenic region to you. Bless our Mayor Tom Sharp, as well as all the staffs and workers of the Scenic Regional Council. Grant them wisdom to make sound decisions and govern with love, grace, justice, and mercy. Help them act in the best interests of all people. Mighty God, I ask for your mighty hand in our community to help those facing difficulties and troubles. Enable us to support those in need. May we live and walk to the glory of God, no matter where we go and what we do. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for our blessings. We pray this in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend, and thank you for your service, and we wish you all the best for the day.
Thank you, Reverend Tom Mayor, and hope to see you sometime soon. Bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Turning to public question time, do we have the CEO public questions on notice?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we have a question from Mr. Wastel. I shall read out the response to the letter. Dear Mr. Wastel, question time, 29 January 2025. Thank you for submitting the below question for public question time at today's ordinary meeting of council. 126 Long Road, Tambourine Mountain, lot 7SP 341940 is council land and earmarked for a car park to service gallery walk. Under Amendment 8 to the planning scheme, 126 Long Road is also being considered as a potential site for retirement homes and a retirement facility. Please, can council explain how you can have a council car park and a private centre for retirement homes and a retirement facility on the same title? I can confirm that the car park and other council facilities planned for this site will occupy only a small portion of the land. Due to the limited availability of large lots and adjacent commercial areas, this site still remains a possibility for a retirement village from a planning perspective. It should be noted, however, that while Council's planning documents have identified it as potentially suitable for a retirement facility, Council has not planned any future use of this site beyond the public toilets and a car park. Operating multiple uses from a single property is totally permissible in planning terms. This regularly happens where such multiple uses can occur simultaneously. In assessing the uses, Council gives consideration to the compatibility to ensure that there is no unreasonable impact on adjacent facility activities.
Thank you. Declarable conflicts of interest by members. Do we have any today? It would appear none. There is not a Merrill minute. Any announcements from the members that they wish to make today? No. I move to item 11.8, or move to petitions and item 11, what we're calling 8.1, and call upon Councillor Sanders.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and councillors. I have a petition to read to you. I have to read this out word for word, so please bear with me. The petition to Scenic Rim Council requests for drainage installation on Francis Close, Coralbin. We, the undersigned residents of Francis Close, Coralbin, request urgent attention to the ongoing issue of water and silt runoff on our street due to the lack of proper drainage infrastructure. Our street features a significant decline down a hill, leading to excessive water and silt during rain. The absence of roadside drainage has caused substantial problems, including flooding of properties, with one resident experiencing 2 flood incidents just last week, blocked drains on private properties due to silt build-up, leading to maintenance issues and potential long-term damage, erosion and environmental concerns impacting the usability and safety of our properties. It is evident that nearby streets with proper drainage infrastructure do not face these challenges. The lack of similar provisions on our street raises concerns about equity and effective planning in infrastructure management. We respectfully urge the Scenic Rim Council to assess the drainage needs of Francis Close, Coralbin, plan and implement appropriate drainage solutions to prevent further damage to properties and mitigate environmental concerns. Below, you'll find signatories of affected residents representing the shared concern and collective agreement on the urgency of the issue. This is properly made, 2 pages, and there are 16 signatures. I move the motion that 1. Council receive the petition regarding drainage installation issues on Francis Close, Coralbin, and 2. Council refer the petition to the Chief Executive Officer for a report to be brought back to Council.
Seconded to the motion.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. Sorry, Councillor, can you just identify who is the principal petitioner?
Oh, okay, of course. The principal petitioner is Mark Braidwood, and he's provided his email and phone number.
Seconded to the motion. Councillor McInnes, did you wish to talk to your motion, Councillor?
No, other than advising these people that have all signed this petition that council will review this under the CEO's delegation, and they will get a reply.
Thank you, Councillor. Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? And indeed, to sum up, I'll put it to the floor. Those in favour of the motion. Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Now stay with item 8. Turn to 8.2 and call upon Councillor Moriarty.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to introduce item 8.2, a petition rejecting the NBN proposal to erect a telecommunications tower at the old school site in Beachmont. The principal submitter is a Mr. Clint Castle of 14 Gumtree Place, Beachmont, 4211. The petition details state that we, the undersigned Beachmont residents, reject the NBN proposal to erect a telecommunications tower at the old school site in Beachmont for the reasons outlined below. And those reasons include the proposal would have an unacceptable impact on our community, and we reject it on those grounds. I move the motion that Council receive the petition rejecting the NBN proposal to erect a telecommunications tower at the old school site in Beachmont And 2, that council refer the petition to the CEO for a report to be brought back to council.
Thank you, councillor. Seconded to the motion. We've already had the principal submitter, if that's what you're asking.
Was that at the beginning?
Yes.
Sorry, my mistake.
Okay. Just call on me first, if you would. If I could have a seconder to the motion. Councillor Hay, thank you. Do you wish to talk to your motion? Councillor Moriarty?
No, not at this stage, thank you, Mayor.
Anyone wish to talk against? Thank you. I'll put it to the floor. Those in favour? Thank you. Carried unanimously. All right. I will now turn to item 11.1 and call upon Councillor McGuinness. Councillor Cryer, sorry. My apologies.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to introduce the report item 11.1, leave of...
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
I did jump ahead there, Councillor Cryer. If I could, we jumped
the
ahead one
minutes.
item and just go back to item number 9, confirmation of the minutes from the previous meeting. For the ordinary meeting, 18th of December 2024, can I call from the floor?
Happy to second.
Happy to move the motion.
Move the motion, thank you.
And seconded by Councillor Chalk. Did you wish to talk to the motion, Councillor Sanders?
No, other than I've read the, all the notes of the meeting and they're true and correct.
Thank you. I'll put it to the floor. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. I'll now turn to item 10.1. Which is business arising. I'll call it business arising from the previous meeting. Call upon Councillor, I'll call upon the CEO to address that. Item 10.1.
Yeah, one page. Through Mr Mayor, I'll go through the Acting General Manager, Council Sustainability.
Thank you, CEO and Mayor and councillors. For the question on notice, based on the table below, which was presented at the last meeting, the employee expenses allocated to capital are less than expected, but they are recoverable from Capital Works program, and therefore they're offset against the employee expenses and have a positive impact on the budget. Hence why at the time you were trying to add it all up, it wasn't quite happening from that point of view. So I hope that is acceptable, councillor, in response to your query.
Councillor Moriarty?
Yeah, no, that's acceptable. Thank you for that response.
Okay. I'll now turn to item 11.1 and call upon Councillor Crowe.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to introduce report item 11.1, leave of absence, Councillor Jennifer Sanders. I take the report as read. Councillor Jennifer Sanders has advised the Chief Executive Officer that she will be absent from council and will be unable to attend the ordinary meeting to be held on the 26th of March 2025. I now move the motion that 1, that council grant Councillor Jennifer Sanders leave of absence from the ordinary meeting to be held on the 26th of March 2025.
Can I seek a seconder to the motion? Councillor Chalk. Do you wish to talk to the motion, Councillor Cryer?
No, thank you, Chair.
Any questions arising? Do you wish to sum up? I'll put the motion to the floor. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Move to item 11.2, call upon Deputy Mayor Councillor McGuinness.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to introduce 11.2, the Council of Mayors South East Queensland Europe Mission 2025. The background, this is to do with some background with as part of the Olympic here in South East Queensland, which ComSec were the driving force behind it back in 2015, I think, from memory. The recommendation, I take it, councillors have read the background to this, but the recommendation being that the council note the Mayor, Councillor Tom Sharp, will participate in the international mission of the Council of Mayors, SEQ, to Europe during February 2025, and that a report about the mission's outcomes will be provided to council at a future meeting. So move that recommendation.
Thank you, councillor. Seconded to the motion, councillor Hay. Councillor McInnes, would you like to talk further to the motion?
Yes, I would, Mayor. This will be one of the biggest events ever held in South East Queensland, and it's right that we learn from others, from Paris, etc., where they've had the Olympics there, and Scenic Rim Regional Council is looking forward to hosting at least one of the major sports here at Wyalong, and there's a lot more work to do, and hopefully we bring that to fruition in this area. There's talk of it going elsewhere, but I think it's the obvious place for it to be here in South East Queensland, and Wyalong Dam is a very adequate and very great place to actually have that. There are other sports that could be there, and no doubt there'll be a lot of countries wanting to train in places like Scenic Rim, and I believe it's very much in the interest of the council for the mayor to be participating in this Council of Mayors trip, and along with most of the other mayors of South East Queensland.
Thank you, councillor. I might, councillor Hay?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I just have a question. Do we have specific dates yet, rather than just in February?
We do. I don't have them right at hand at this point in time. They're in the report, I believe.
Just a second comment. For those listening, it might be good to talk about how the costs of participation in the mission are going to be covered.
Certainly, so I can make comment in relation to that. I think it is covered, but it's a week-long journey commencing on the 4th of February, covering 3 major destinations, being Singapore, Manchester, and Paris. The Singapore part of the journey is really, there are a number of goals that are strategically set down for this that I will be reporting back to council and people of the region. It is not solely an effort in terms of learnings around the Olympic Games, although that is a very big part of it in terms of what both Manchester and Paris experienced. There are other components to the journey, particularly in relation to Singapore, in understanding some of the regional coordinated approaches to housing affordability, which we know has become a major a major concern, particularly in Queensland, South East Queensland, and also the growth that we will be experiencing over the next decade and how best to manage that. Another major area that we'll be reviewing is technology and expertise in the relationship to waste management, which is potentially an opportunity for this region, so that we will also be reporting back on what is learnt from other jurisdictions and how they're advancing their abilities, particularly around sustainability in that area of waste management. But also another one that is critical to this region, of highest interest to the people of this region, is water security. And that will be another area of focus. along with, and in particular with regards to the Singapore part of the trip, is there the learnings that we can take away in terms of connectivity and digital infrastructure. As we know, throughout this region, we have struggled down through the years with black spots and connectivity. To give us that that baseline capability, as then we can start leveraging up the region economically. In addition, I know that there's been some scrutiny in the public and a number of media comments around the costs of these delegations. The cost is not direct to the ratepayer, but it is via the subscription to the membership of of the Council of Mayors South East Queensland. There is no additional expenses, and during my time away, which I will be taking some extended time after the trip, that will be at my own personal cost. If that satisfies. Thank you, Councillor. Any further questions? Anyone wishing to talk against? I put it to the floor. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Turn to item 11.3. Call upon Councillor Moriarty.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to introduce item 11.3, the Master Plan Committees for Canungra, Calbar and Coralban. I take the report as read and introduce the recommendation as presented. That 1, Council endorse the formation of the Canungra Master Plan Committee and confirm the membership of the committee. 2, Council endorse the formation of the Calbar Master Plan Committee and confirm the membership of the committee. Council endorse the formation of the Coralban Master Plan Committee and confirm the membership of the committee. Council authorise the Chief Executive Officer to draft terms of reference for adoption at the inaugural meeting of each of the 3 Master Plan Committees. And 5, Council authorise the Chief Executive Officer to commence engagement with the interested community members as soon as practicable.
Thank you, Councillor. Seconded to the motion. Councillor Cryer. Councillor Moriarty, you wish to talk to your motion?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to take the opportunity to acknowledge council officers, in particular the CEO, for driving this initiative forward. I believe that these master plan committees for some of our smaller communities in the region are long overdue and possibly once a generation chance for us to address the extreme growth that's going on in these towns. So to that end, I commend council in taking the initiative in establishing these master plan committees. I would also like to acknowledge and thank the representatives from the communities, each of the communities who took the time to put a nomination in and present the reasons why they would like to be involved in these committees. And from reading through those applications and the reasons why people would like to be involved, it's quite clear that we have people in our communities in the Scenic Rim that are passionate about our region, passionate about our communities, and that they want to make a contribution, not just for the present, but for future generations for our region. So to that end, I commend this recommendation to the councillors and trust that they will support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any questions? Further comment?
Just a further comment, if I may, Mr. Mayor. I just want to thank the communities that Councillor Moriarty so eloquently named, and thanks. We also need to thank the state government for the grants that they've provided, and we were overwhelmed with applications to join the Coralban. I'll just speak about the Coralban one, the Coralban Master Plan Committee, with 29 applicants for 10 committee members. We'll go through the applications and we'll choose enthusiastic people with great skills and knowledge and enthusiasm for the valley and its people, and then we'll review the terms of reference to make sure we come up with outcomes and solutions for the region that are well thought out, measurable and within budget. So I'm totally looking forward to this, and again, I just thank everybody for their enthusiasm.
Thank you, Councillor. Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? Councillor McGuinness, did you wish to make a comment or question?
Yes, I will make a comment, given that Calvar's in my division. I think this is, it is groundbreaking effort that we've done here, and I, like Councillor Moriarty, I thank the staff for actually getting behind this, and I think it'll add to each of those communities with local input. Yeah, there'll be some very different ideas, I'm sure, when I see some of the people there, and that's okay. We hear those different ideas, and whether they're everything's able to be applied to the redevelopment of towns is it can be debatable, but it's good to have those views on the table, and we look forward to the input and the enthusiasm that people do have towards these committees.
And potentially also managing the expectations of the people in terms of what the plans will deliver and what actions come after that and how and when, Councillor?
Relevant point there.
Thank you. Anyone wanting to talk against the motion? Councillor Moriarty, did you wish to add to your comment?
Oh, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Just, it was remiss of me not to mention, as Councillor saying, it is a state government. I have been in communication with our state member, John Krause, has offered his full support for the planning committees, and given that there will be some state agencies will be impacted, hopefully, by some of the decisions that are made during the planning process, it will be great to have them at the table and to have the support of the state in this level of planning as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. That can only be encouraged. I now put it to the floor. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Call upon Councillor Chalk to introduce item 11.5. Sorry, Councillor McGuinness on 11.4. My apologies.
Thanks, Mayor. I'd like to introduce 11.4, Local Roads of Regional Significance Network Register Review. Some background to this. The Local Roads of Regional Significance Network is a network of lower order state-controlled roads and higher order local government-controlled roads that perform a similar function. Local roads of regional significance are determined by regional roads and transport groups to focus transport infrastructure development scheme investment on roads of strategic importance, although the other road infrastructure classes are eligible for regional road and transport groups consideration. Mayor and councillors, I'm the rep on the regional roads group, consisting of Ipswich City Council, Lockyer Regional Council and ourselves, and I would, it is a bit longer, but I think it's right that I go through the recommendation, if I may, Mayor. Council acknowledge the Local Roads of Regional Significance Network Review. 2, Council supports submission of the following road segments to the Scenic Valley Regional Roads and Transport Group for its consideration and adoption as Council's local roads of regional significance. The roads that are there are Alpine Terrace, starting at White Road and going to the end of the road. Beachmont Road, Binnaburra, goes from Binnaburra Road to Beaudesert Nerang Road. Brisbane Street, going from William Street to Kerry Road. Burnett Creek Road, from the Boona Rathdowney Road to end of the maintenance on that road. Head Road, from Carnage Creek Road to Brett Road. Kerry Road, Brisbane Street to the end of the road. Coralbin Road, Mount Lindsay Highway to Wellington.
Councillor?
Sorry, Christmas Creek Road. Sorry about that, Councillor Moriarty. It wouldn't be good if we missed that. It was one of the main ones that do need a lot of work. Christmas Creek Road, from the Mount Lindsay Highway to the end of the road. Kerry Road from Brisbane Street to the end of the road, Coralbin Road, Mount Lindsay Highway to Wellington Bundock Drive, Mount Greville Road from Lake Mugger Road to end of maintenance, Mount Walker West Road from Grays Plains Road to Warrellview P Crossing Road, Roadvale Road, Ipswich Boonah Road to Tiviotville Road, Rosevale Road, Rosewood Warrellview Road to Tyrone Road, Sandy Creek Road from Beaudesert Boonah Road to Josephsville Road, School Road from Alpine Terrace to Siganto Street, Spices Gap Road from Lake Mugger Road to the end of the road, Tyrone Road from Fraserview Road to Old Rosevale Road, Wellington Bundock Drive, Coralbin Road to Routley Drive, Beacon Road from Main Western Road to the end of the road, Tiviotville Road from Edward Street to Roadvale Road, Edward Street at Calvo from George Street to Tiviotville Road, George Street from Calbar Connection Road to Edward Street, Hinchcliffe Drive from Routley Drive to Walker Drive, Long Road from Contour Road to Esme Street, Routley Drive, Wellington Bundock Drive to Lady Carolyn Close, Hartley Road, Main Western Road to Long Road, and Upper Coomera Road, Beachmont to Flying Fox Road. May I put all those roads, and people would be listening would be keen to know that their roads on that list. There's not a big amount of money comes, but it does help through the Regional Roads Group that it goes towards it, and we actually have to put some money then in to complete the jobs, the upgrades on those roads. But I move that resolution with all those roads involved. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. And a second to the motion. Councillor Sanders. Councillor McInnes, would you like to talk to the motion?
I had some breath left, I wouldn't. No, this is a good thing. It happens every 2 years, and there's roads go there. I haven't got a lot more to add to it. I don't know whether staff would like to add to it, but it is a good scheme, and there's a debate goes on just where the money is spent. Sometimes it's in one or more different regions, but I think over the years we've got a reasonable share of the money out of that scheme.
Thank you. Anyone wishing to, any questions? Councillor Moriarty.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to, I don't know whether it's a foreshadow amendment or consider an amendment to the motion. Upper Coomera Road from Beachmont Road to Flying Fox Road. I do have a request that be extended to the end of, so Upper Coomera Road go from Beachmont Road to the end of the Upper Coomera Road, locally known as Illenborough Road, ever increasing traffic and a source of frequent requests for maintenance, and I believe it would be appropriate to extend Upper Coomera Road to the end of the road with the support of council, please.
Mayor, if that question's going there, I might ask the acting manager acting GM to actually comment on there, and whether he sees that as we could change it, or else we have it as an amendment. Without putting him on the spot too much.
Thank you for the question, and through the chair. From the extension point of view, we could look into that, making sure that all the criteria is met under the existing framework, and that the roads are constructed to that level of constructability, and extend it to that point.
Thank you. Do you now which?
Well, it'd be on the motion, but if the contingent is then I'm not sure that it should go into a resolution until it's changed.
So GM, just put the question back to you. Are you accepting that as a reasonable amendment, or do you need to make further investigations whether that can be included?
Through the chair, I'd like to just take that time to do that further analysis to make sure it's exactly there, or at least up to the constructed portion of that road, to make sure that it's still eligible under that funding arrangement.
Okay. So then we're back to the situation whether we take the existing motion, take that on board, and take the existing motion as it is. With a,
Through you, Mr Mayor. Deputy, how often does the committee meet?
3 times a year. Yeah.
so we can take that on notice, and then take that as on notice as a question, report that back to the council, and take that to the committee at the next meeting. If you're happy with that, councillor.
I'm happy with that, thank you.
All right. So no required to the amendment of the motion. We have a seconder for the motion. Are there any further questions or comments? Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? I put the motion to the floor. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. I now turn to item 11.5 and call on Councillor Chalk.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yeah, I'll introduce report 11.5, Local Government Remunerations Commission, determination of maximum remuneration for elected representatives. I'll just take the report as being read, and I'll move the following motion: that 1, Council receive the Local Government Remuneration Commission's annual report 2024, and 2, Council adopt the Local Government Remuneration Commission's remuneration schedule effective from 1st of July 2025 for the Mayor, Deputy Mayor and Councillors.
Thank you, Councillor. Do I have a seconder to the motion? Councillor Moriarty. Councillor Chalk, do you wish to talk to the motion?
I need to say that it's a good process, that it's done externally through the Commission, and we're not involved at all. We just got to accept it or not accept it, so that's all I'll say.
Councillor Sanders.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The Local Government Remuneration Commission has determined that the levels of pay for all Queensland local governments and the findings are contained in the annual report 2024. This is a bolt from the blue, and while it's welcomed, it was totally unexpected. As a councillor, I was surprised that the Commission has handed down this finding, and again, I reiterate, totally unexpected. There's a severe cost of living crisis, and reports that over the last 4 to 5 years, the cost of basic items has risen dramatically. I've just referred to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, and it states the annual food inflation rate sitting at about 7.5%, with dairy rising 15.2% over the last 12 months, and breads and cereals slightly behind 11.2%. I hope that the pensioners and people who rely on government assistance get a well-deserved pay rise too, along with the private sector. I know that many people are finding it hard to live in these current times, and I cannot see that things are going to change soon. Councillors do not set their own rate of pay, and the Local Government Remuneration Commission has reviewed all the levels of wages for councillors across Queensland, and the councillors on a B2 level with Somerset, South Burnett, Gympie, Livingston and Southern Downs. And of the 13 levels, our council is in the 5th category. I know the media will immediately make out that we've all been successful in gaining a pay rise, and I'll use my extra money to attend more events in the regions, buy more raffle tickets, entry tickets and support in any way that I can.
Thank you, Councillor. Any further question, comment? Councillor McInnes.
Yes, Mayor. This is a good system. I've been part of organisations where you set your own rate, and that's not a good way of doing it. And I suppose if we took a vote amongst all our people, they wouldn't believe that we need a price rise of any kind. But very few people want to put their hand up and vie for the position. I do remember a former councillor that often gave his extra increase to to charity, and that's people's prerogative if they like to do that. This is, I think it's fair and reasonable. I look at the other states, considerably more than Queensland, and being at arm's length to us, it is a good system, and they do go into a lot of detail when looking at it all the time. So it is what it is, and we one time about 5 years ago during COVID, I think it was, we actually didn't take the increase. The council at the time voted not to have the increase, but of course next time you went up two increases basically. So, but in the time it was, most of us, the majority of us thought it was the right thing to do. But it was it is dollars for the council, and I think people get their money's worth from councillors.
Thank you, councillor. Anyone else wishing to make comment? Just nothing further. I'll just add to that. I guess it is important to have an independent system, but it's only one step in the process, and it's always worth remembering that the people may have criticism, or they will have concern that they're not getting value for their buck, and their judgment is on the individual councillor or the mayor, their representative. It's what they see as the work being done for them, and they mark their scorecard accordingly on election day. Is another component to adding to that process. Councillor Chalk, would you like to talk further to the motion? That being said, no, thank you. I'll put it to the floor. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. I'll turn to item 11.6 and call upon Councillor Sanders.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Item 11.6. Council policy, standing orders and meetings and other forums. Council is required to adopt procedures for the conduct of meetings of the Council, including ordinary meeting and standing committees. From time to time, the Department of Housing, Local Government Planning and Public Works releases an updated model document recommending amendments to these meeting procedures. The latest version of the model meeting procedures was released July 24 and includes proposed amendments to the standing orders for the Council meetings policy. As Councillor for Division 4, a member of the Audit and Risk Committee, I hereby introduce the report 11.6, and I know that councillors will have read the changes and have satisfied themselves with the changes. So option 1, I put the motion, the council adopt the standing orders for the council meetings, the council adopt the standing orders for council meetings, council policy.
Thank you, councillor. Seconded to the motion. Councillor McGuinness. Councillor Sanders, do you wish to talk to your motion?
I think it's pretty self-evident. I don't think there's anything further to add. Thank you very much, Mr Mayor.
Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? I'll put it to the floor, though. Councillor Hay.
Sorry, if we could just go to page, just got to find it. There's actually an omission in one of the lines. Page 114, the top line. Page 114.
Is this in relation to declarable conflict of interest?
It is, yes, that one. So there's a number missing, which is reasonably vital. So the first line of that page, it says, of interest under section 150 EW of the LGA will apply if more than councillor is reported. We need a number in there.
The number 1 will suffice.
Through Mr Mayor, are you
Just on the first line
happy
of
with
that page. Now,
Yep.
if you go if more
There.
than, and then the number 1, ONE, if we can note that as a typing error.
Yes.
And we require an amendment to. I don't think we require an amendment to the motion.
No,
No,
but
no.
I would think it is the number 1. It's a,
Yeah, we're all agreed on that.
Yep.
yeah.
Anything further, councillor?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I just have a question in relation to 10.5 on the same page. I was a little confused that we can get down to having a single eligible councillor. So obviously if there's only one remaining, there can't be a seconder. Is this is in line and it is consistent with section 150 ET? Is this a standard? Yes?
Through the chair, I can provide a response to that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that circumstance has occurred previously where we've run out of councillors. And so these have been drafted in line with the legislation and the model provided by the department. So that will be correct. That circumstance it's been catered for in the standing orders.
Are you happy with that, councillor?
Yes, thank you. And final question.
Yep.
When it's mentioned that when we have an even vote, we have the ability for a casting vote. That's also in the legislation, yes?
And through you, Chair, are you referring to the voting on conflicts of interest?
Yes.
I'll have to go back and check that. I don't have the answer for you right there. Previously it wasn't. There was no casting vote previously for conflicts of interest. It was deemed, if there was no majority, then it was deemed that the conflict existed. So I just have to go back and confirm that.
We'll take that on notice.
Thank you.
Mr Mayor,
Just
oh,
from
sorry.
A, councillor. Councillor Hay, anything further?
That's all, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Sanders.
Just a question. Should we change the motion slightly to permit or delegate authority to the CEO to make any minor grammatical changes, which we quite often do? Is that worthwhile doing here, or do you think there's anything else outstanding?
Oh, look, are you putting forward an amendment to your motion?
No, I was just asking a question if everybody would think that would be worthwhile, or if it's at this moment in time it's not required.
I don't think it's really necessary. I think they'll pick up those amendments. We've got a question on notice, which I don't think will affect the outcome of the standing orders for this point in time, so we'll proceed with the motion. Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? Do you wish to? If nothing further, Councillor Sanders, I put the motion to the floor. Those in favour? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Now turn to item 11.7 and call upon Councillor Moriarty.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to introduce item 11.7, Council's monthly financial report for December 2024. I'll take the report as read. I'm just trying to find that. And then introduce the item. Introduce the motion as it stands. Council note the unaudited financial statements to the period ended 31st December 2024 for the financial year 2024 to 2025.
Thank you, Councillor.
Happy to
Seconded to
second.
the motioner. Councillor Sanders. Councillor Moriarty, do you wish to now talk to your motion?
Thank you, Mayor. I was just wondering whether it might be possible if the CEO or a council officer would just provide some brief commentary about the report, perhaps just how we're travelling financially, I guess approximately or just over halfway through the financial year. Any observations that might help those online or in the gallery. It's a fairly lengthy report, lots of information in there. There is an executive summary, which is very helpful, but perhaps some comments from the council staff would be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. CEO?
Through you, Acting General Manager.
Thank you. Through the chair, if I could pass it over to the financial manager, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So my intention was just to go through the executive summary, but based on your query, I guess sounds a bit more generic, I guess. Overall, I think Council's tracking fairly well against financials. Fees and charges are definitely going very strong at the moment, especially in the plumbing certification, development assessment areas. So on the revenue side of things are going well. You'll also see in the December budget review an increase in interest expected to be earned this year, and our tax that we get from the urban utilities. So revenue is certainly going strong. On the expenditure side, employee expenses largely under budget at the moment due to many vacancies, largely. All of that savings in the employee expenses are being transferred to materials and services there, and we're getting contract staff in, but only to the value of the savings being made due to the vacancy. Employee expenses allocated to capital at the moment is less than what was originally budgeted for, probably due because we're using the staff that are remaining to do the operating work, so to do all the maintenance work. So that's what's causing those expenses allocated to capital be down. Materials and services, that's under budget at the moment. Largely what's at the moment just expected to be timing differences. The main thing at the moment is resheeting, and I'm told that's due to the weather at the moment. It's hard to do the resheeting during the rain. But everything else with our materials and services looks like it's tracking largely towards budget expectations. Depreciation is tracking over budget. That's causing me a little bit of concern at the moment. It's over budget due to the revaluation that was done last year was larger than what was budgeted for. So we allowed for a 2% increase as part of the revaluation. It was more like about 4% occurred. So that's tracking higher, and that's something that you can't fix that. It's going to track on year after year, and you're going to be an impact on council's operating statement from now onwards. And I guess being non-cash, it doesn't represent, I guess, depreciation expense isn't so much itself a problem, but the increase in depreciation due to the increase in the value of the assets means it's going to cost us more to maintain those assets, means it's going to cost us more to renew those assets in future as well. So the impact of that really is going to be, we're going to need to put more money aside on asset renewal and asset maintenance. Capital expenditure, it's tracking below budget at the moment, which means I guess there's a few projects that are being delayed for various reasons. A lot of it's to do with the grant programs, the DRFA, but those programs will get done. It's just a timing thing when it comes to financials. Capital revenue, bit of timing variances there as well, so no problems in there as well. The cash position at the moment, we're ahead of where we expected to be on the cash position at the moment. That's largely due to those fees and charges tracking ahead of schedule, and the the capital expenditure being behind budget. So that hopefully give you a bit of an overall picture of what you're after.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
Yes. Mayor, if I may, through the CEO, and the manager rightly pointed out the plumbing certification is through the roof, I suppose, is which is good to see in a lot of ways, but I just wonder if the GM for that area could, excuse me, give us a indication, are we keeping up with it, given the numbers that are there? Are we in line with our service and keeping up with what we're required to do?
Thank you for the question. The fees are directly relevant to the amount of work we have in, because they directly relate to the number of applications we receive. We are lucky at the moment in that we are fully staffed, and we have an additional staff member as well has come on. So we are meeting our obligations. It is tough on the team, and there is some overtime being worked to make sure that we keep up to date. But at this stage, the service is meeting expectations.
Thanks very much, Jim.
Thank you, councillor. Any further questions or comment? Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? Councillor Moriarty, further? I'll put it to the floor. Those in favour? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Call upon Councillor Hay to introduce item 11.8.
Thank you, Chair. As a member of the Audit and Risk Committee, I'd like to introduce item 11.8, which is the report to Council of the Audit and Risk Committee meeting held on the 21st of November 2024. I take the report as read, and I'd just like to provide a brief summary of the items that were discussed at that meeting. In accordance with the local government regulations, a report is presented after each meeting to summarise the discussions and recommendations. The November meeting covered the usual wide range of topics. The areas with more significant discussion in the meeting included the Queensland Audit Office's recommendations regarding ex gratia payments, processes and Council's related risks and controls, and the Audit and Risk Committee self-assessment and opportunities for improvement in the operation of the Audit and Risk Committee, and finally the Information Services and Technology update and the progress on addressing previous audit recommendations. I would like to move that Council note the report to Council on the Audit and Risk Committee meeting held on the 21st of November 2024.
Thank you, councillor. Seconded to the motion. Councillor Cryer. You wish to, well, you have summed it up, so nothing further.
No, thank you, Chair, nothing further.
Anyone wishing to talk against the motion or any questions? Do you want to finalise that, Councillor Hay?
No, thank you. I think it's all contained in the report. Thank you.
I'll put it to the floor. Those in favour? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Councillor Hay, calling you back on item 11.9.
Thank you, Chair. As the Divisional Councillor for Division 1, I'd like to introduce late item 11.9, MCU 23/136, change, other, development permit for material change of use, caterer's room and food and drink outlet located at 216 to 222 Long Road, 224 to 226 Long Road and 125 to 127 Curtis Road, Tamborine Mountain, described as lots 6, 1, 2 and 3 on SP 145501, and the reason for that long description is that it's a corner block.
I think it might be lot, is it lot 6 or lot 0? I think it's lot 0,
sorry.
1, 2 and 3.
Eyesight's not the best, thank you. I take that report as read also, And I note that there was one properly made submission, and that submitter had no objections to the development progressing, and just made one request in relation to fencing. And I note that condition 5 has been added to that conditions of approval, which addresses the issue raised by that submitter. So it's good to see that the planning staff have taken on board the comments made in the properly made submission. I don't think there are any other issues with this one. It has been discussed at length in a briefing session, and we've gone through and been satisfied, I believe, with the proposed conditions that have been put before us today. So I'd like to move the motion that 1, Council receive and note the report titled Development Application MCU 23/136 for a change other application for development permit for a material change of use, caterers room and food and drink outlet located at 216 to 222, 224 to 226 Long Road and 125 to 127 Curtis Road, Tamborine Mountain, formerly described as lots 0, 1, 2 and 3 on SP 145501. 2, Council approved development application MCU 23/136 and grant a development permit subject to the conditions contained in section recommended conditions of approval. And 3, Council note that any subsequent requests for negotiated decision notice and or further change applications to the approval MCU 23/136 will be processed via delegated authority where the change would not significantly alter the original decision. And for those who are listening, this relates to the Grand Chameleon property. Thank you.
Leave that last bit off the recommendation. Thank you, councillor. Can I have a seconder to the motion, please? Councillor Moriarty. Councillor Hay, do you wish to talk to your motion?
Yes, thank you, Chair. It's good to see this one finally come to a decision, given that it was lodged in September 2023, so it's been a long time in the processing, but there were numerous issues with this application, which the planning staff have worked through, and it was good to see that only one submitter had anything to say about the development, and that wasn't anything negative as well, so that was good. And I think this particular venue is an asset to the offerings that are on Tamborine Mountain for restaurants, particularly for locals.
Thank you, councillor. Any questions or comments arising? Anyone wish to talk against the motion? Councillor Hay, anything to sum up?
No, thank you. I think I've said enough.
I put it to the floor. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Now turn to item 11.1 and call upon councillor Chalk.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's 11.10. I'll introduce report 11.10, petition received regarding Transport Depot development, 63 Bunburra Road, Dugandan. I'll take the report as being read and I'll provide a bit of a summary. This report is prepared in response to the petition received by Council at the ordinary meeting held on the 30th of October 2024. The petition tabled relates to community concerns regarding an alleged unapproved transport depot operating at 63 Bunburra Road, Dugandan. The petition, as made, primarily related to concerns on the effects of the development on the rural character. Additionally, the petition requests any approvals to be halted until community consultation is undertaken and the concerns are addressed. The development application lodged is administered under the Planning Act 2016 and assessed against relevant assessment benchmarks on the Scenic Rim Planning Scheme 2020 as code assessment. Code assessment applications are not subject to public notification and therefore does not involve community consultation as part of the assessment considerations. Notwithstanding, Council may accept submissions received on a code assessment application as common material and provide consideration to the extent the matters raised in the submissions relate to the relevant assessment benchmarks. However, any submission accepted during the assessment period is not afforded submitter appeal rights. I'll move and introduce the motion, and then we can go to any questions of the officers. So the motion that I'll move is that 1, Council note the report titled Petition Received Regarding Transport Depot Development, 63 Bunbarra Road, Dugandan, and 2, Council provide a response to the principal petition. Council provide a response to the principal petition submitters via the Chief Executive Officer, which confirms that a development application has been lodged. Council reference MCU 24/181, the anticipated timeframes for assessment of the application, and the opportunity for the community to provide comments for consideration as part of the assessment.
Thank you. Seconded to the motion. Councillor Cryer. Do you wish to talk to your motion now? Councillor Chalk?
No, I don't think so, Mr. Mayor.
Any questions? Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? Nothing further. Councillor Chalk?
I only just say that this is a code assessment application, and the property owners at this location are following the correct process at this stage, subsequent to some action taken by council. So the process will be thorough, and I'm sure the planning staff will give it the proper level assessment as required.
Thank you. I put it to the floor then. Those in favour? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Call upon Councillor Cryer to introduce item 1111.
Thank you, Chair. As Councillor for the portfolio of Community Arts and Culture, I would like to introduce report item 11.11 Scenic Rim Regional Arts Development Fund Program 2024 to 2025 Big Ideas Round. I take the report as read. The Scenic Rim Regional Arts Development Fund, or RADF, supports the professional development and employment of arts and cultural workers in regional Queensland. As a partnership between the Queensland Government through Arts Queensland and the Scenic Rim Regional Council, the program provides funding for one-off short-term projects which offer professional arts, cultural and heritage opportunities. This report advises of the applications received for the 2024 to 2025 Scenic Rim Regional Arts Development Fund RADF Big Ideas grants. I now move the motion that 1, that Council approve the allocation under the 2024 to 2025 Scenic Rim Regional Arts Development Fund Program Big Ideas Grant as recommended by the Scenic Rim Arts Reference Group for a total of $52,600 in grant funding towards 7 projects as outlined in the table below. Individual group project amount allocated as follows: Beaudesert Potters, 50 years of the Beaudesert Potters, $8,900. Alistair Richardson Sefarelli Album, $7,000. Luca Charles Global Asset LP Album Development, $8,600. Clear Album 3 Campaign, $8,700. Beck Anderson Magic Carpet Ride, $9,200. Tambourine Mountain Museum Hilda Gladys Curtis Nee Geisman Story, $2,450. The Inadequates debut album Snakes and Ladders production, $7,750.
Thank you. Could I have a second to the motion? Councillor Sanders. Councillor Cryer, you wish to talk to your motion?
Yes, thank you. As Chair for the Scenic Rim Arts Reference Group, I have been privileged to view parts of these proposed projects and can personally attest to the quality of the work presented, which will be an honour for the Scenic Regional Council to provide support to proudly showcase some of our amazing artists within the region. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor. Questions? Yes, councillor McInnes.
If I could ask Councillor Cryer, please, Mayor, state involvement in this process, and they're giving money, some of that money, and where is the funding coming from?
Thank you, Councillor McGuinness. The majority of the money is coming from the Scenic Rim Regional Council, and I actually don't know the portion that the state government supports. That would have to be a question to.
Please.
Sorry.
You're right now. Go back. Yep.
All good. Whilst I don't have the exact figures in front of me, I think it's around about a 60-40 split. We can get those exact figures circulated and perhaps pop a note in the minutes. But the funding is shared between Council and Arts Queensland, and then the process is at a local level within the guidelines that Arts Queensland provide us.
Through you, Mr Mayor, I'll just clarify. $42,000 is received through Arts Queensland. Council does a contribution of $30,500. That fund, we've also carried over about $13,000 from last year. That was unallocated, so it goes into the pot as well. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any further? Councillor Cryer?
No, thank you.
Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? With that said, and you're nothing further, councillor Cryer, put the motion to the floor. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Okay, we now address confidential matters 12.1 and 12.2. I can't quite read that. So I'll propose the motion. That in accordance with Council's standing orders for council meetings policy and the provisions of section 254J subsection 3 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, Council closed the meeting to public to discuss confidential items as follows. 12.1, Urban Utilities Board appointments, closed under section 254J subsection 3 subsection G. 12.2, late item, adoption of organisational structure, closed under subsection 254J subsection 3B, as discussions will be held about the appointment of Urban Utilities Board members and Council's organisational structure. Could I have a second to the motion? Thank you, Councillor Sanders. I put it to the floor. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. We'll look to come back on the half hour and close the meeting. Thank you for the moment. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome back, and I'll move the motion that we come out of closed back into open. Could I please have a seconder to the motion? Councillor Sanders. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. And call upon Councillor McInnes.
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to move the recommendation, council endorse the reappointment of Jared Pender and Lucia Kay as board members of Urban Utilities effective from 1st of July 2025 for a term of 4 years expiring on 30th of June 2029. And 2, council delegate to the Chief Executive Officer. Council delegate to the Chief Executive Officer the authority to sign the instrument of appointment that formalises the endorsement of appointment to the Urban Utilities Board. Mayor, I might just repeat one, seeing as my microphone wasn't on. Council endorse the reappointment of Jared Pender and Lucia Cade as board members of Urban Utilities effective from 1st of July 2025 for a term of 4 years expiring on 30th of June 2029. I so move, Mayor.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Sanders. Nothing further. Councillor McInnes?
No, I think it's straightforward. They've been board members and they're just being reappointed. We're one of 5 5 councils that are involved in urban utilities.
Thank you. I'll put it to the floor. Those in favour? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Call upon Councillor Hay.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to introduce late item 12.2, adoption of organisational structure. The discussion was held in closed session and we've now returned to open session. The motion is that 1, council endorse the proposed draft organisational structure for consultation, and 2, council authorises the Chief Executive Officer to implement the processes necessary to transition to the new organisational structure.
Seconder to the motion. Councillor Moriarty. Given confidential, you don't wish to talk further. Councillor Hay?
No, thank you, Chair.
Anyone talking against? I put it to the floor. Those in favour? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. And that draws today's meeting to a close at 11:03 a.m. Thank you all.